Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Okay. Make a funny face. That's gonna be on the bloopers. Those are gonna go on bloopers for a lot of people to see. Okay. Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the Secondary Assessment. Today I'm here with my mother, Terry White, and we're going to ask her some questions today about what it was like to be married to a professional firefighter paramedic and going through the schedule and stuff like that. So Mom, can you tell us, what was it like being married to a full-time firefighter paramedic?
It was very interesting. It was challenging, but yet at the same time, I was proud of your dad for all that he done and was doing for our family. So it was an adjustment, but we learned to roll with it, and I didn't mind it at all. It was great.
Awesome. And how, as a wife, what was your role like in supporting Dad through his trainings and through the process of joining the fire department, and then also through tough times like bad calls and just supporting him emotionally?
Well, the first thing I remember about, really having to step up and support him was when he went through 9 months of, back then it was 9 months of paramedic school. And I was left home with 5 kids when he was going away to school. That was a very big challenge, but that was the stepping stone that I needed to learn how to be more supportive of him throughout schooling, throughout continual education, and also like certain runs that he would go on, he would, he wasn't shut down about it. He would give me a call, and I learned how to be supportive in that sense too. So
Very cool. Mom, obviously I know what it was like because I grew up in the household, but can you describe what it was like with Dad's schedule, like being at the fire department for 24 hours and then being home for 48 hours? Because that's definitely unique for a work schedule, but what was that like for you, being a wife and a mother?
well, like I said before, there was a lot of challenges that went along with trying to adjust to schedules, to last minute runs that he had to go on. But I think when you decide to be supportive because your husband wants to be in that and that's his dream, then you just kind of put other things aside and learn how to be supportive in that sense. So it was an adjustment because I would be alone with the kids a lot, or at family gatherings with just myself and the kids. But overall, I think it was worth it. And again, I'm proud of him for what he did.
Very cool. So, Mom, you also helped out around the fire department as far as like some ladies' auxiliary stuff and like just going to visit and doing some chores around the firehouse. Can you describe what that was like?
Yeah, I was on the ladies auxiliary for a little while, and the auxiliary would get together during like critical fire runs and gather food for the firemen and whatever they needed. If however much they could help. I never really could because I had 5 kids at home. But there was a couple times where I would come in afterwards, or like when they were still gone, and I would clean up the dishes and you kids would play on the fire trucks, the ones that was still there. I tried to help out as much as I could, but with 5 kids, that was kind of a
Yeah.
challenge. So.
But also, like, you described the necessity to have something like that because when the firefighters are out on a job and they're fighting a fire, they're going for a long time. They don't necessarily want to come back and clean dishes or, or make food, but having that there is, what do you say, is important.
Oh, it very much so is. And you try to support them as much as possible because they're the ones on the front line, so to speak. And so you need that support behind the scenes, and that is something I'm, more than willing to support at.
Awesome. Mom, what kind of advice would you give to someone whose spouse is a firefighter, that works full time, that has that kind of schedule? Like, how would you encourage them to encourage their spouse?
Good question. I would say to the wives of firemen, you have no room for selfishness. I mean, you've really got to be you got to sacrifice a lot for your husband to be in that. Make it nice for him to come home. I mean, I always made sure that the kids were well behaved, dressed, fed, the house was comfortable, and I'm a bit traditional anyway, and I would suggest being, very supportive in that manner.
Yeah, just create a comfortable atmosphere so when they come home they can rest for a while especially after a
Exactly.
busy shift. Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of times though, when the firemen come home, they want to see their kids, first and foremost, and that's something your dad always enjoyed doing, is just gathering you up in his arms, and I think it's important for a wife to make that possible. So.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, Mom, thanks for answering these questions today. And as always, thank you guys for watching this special edition of the Secondary Assessment. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos. Be watching every week for a new edition of the Assessment and Secondary Assessment. And as always, thank you for watching.